Hello, my name is Emily Southam and this is a book that I did on a recent trip to Rajasthan in India. I went with the University Cardiff Metropolitan as I'm a textile artist. So we were told to make a book on our trip with a theme. I just chose my journey as I didn't want to hold myself back with just a certain theme and then not be able to use what I found in India afterwards. So this is the outside of my book. I sourced the fabric beforehand because I wanted to bind the book before I went, just to make it sturdier so it would last the whole trip. These are cut up saris. I've embellished some stuff as well. There's a button by here. And then I patchworked this onto some satin, and I've also hand stitched over it as well, just to give it that hand feel touch. Really happy with how it turned out. And then I've also got this leather strap just to bring it back to kind of neutral feel. It kind of clashes a bit, but I quite like that. So yeah, let's open the book. So on the side I've also got these fabric tabs, just a nice touch. I found this on YouTube on Amnesty Bloom. Love the way that she does her journals, so I wanted to try and recreate this on mine. I've added some bits that I found in India. This is from a ceramic workshop that we did. These were just, they're everywhere on the market, these wooden beads on most of jewellery, so I used some of them. And then there's some wooden and some more just embellishment from just tapestry as well. There's just so many beads out there. And then I've also got a, don't know whether you can see that, a bookmarking page. This is an old coin from India that my dad has collected. I've also drilled into it and added some bells and just embellished it so that it looks pretty. So on the inside I've used this jewelled paper that I found in Hobbycraft. It's quite colourful, it matches the cover and it just neatens it up really, which is a nice touch. Then moving on, this is where I went to Rajasthan, and then I went inside of there, Jaipur, which is the capital, and then we travelled down in week 2 to Udaipur. On the back is postcard, just some general information on Rajasthan, the capital, Jaipur, the population, number of districts in Rajasthan. And then I've also done this watercolour painting of the Rohida flower, which is the state flower in Rajasthan. And then I finished it off with an old stamp that I have sourced. I've also embellished this, embroidered into it, just to show the journey that I did from Jaipur to Udaipur in the middle of the trip. I went to Rajasthan for 2 weeks in total. It was around 12 days, 11 nights, and it was a really good experience, which you'll see right now. So this is the first place that we went to, Amber Fort. I've got some pictures. I've put them into Polaroid versions because I just think it suits it better, smaller, and then I can just get more images in here and just show how much of a good time I had. This folds out. This is a monkey that we had come eat with us at the cafe that we ate in Amber Fort. This is me. There is loads of archways and just really arty, if you like, places to take photography, and it was just really pretty. This is the whole Amberfort view, and then this is another watercolour painting that I did there. It's about a 10-minute sketch, and then I've added this fabric tab, hand sewn, and then the wooden beads like I said. Next is, this is a Bollywood film that we went to go see, Tigers in the High. Totally recommend it. It was amazing. And then we've got the cinema ticket that I had. Crazy experience. They just get up and boo and hiss, and they just love life, they do. And then over here, I did this section on the travel, because travelling in India is ridiculous. It's like Super Mario Kart on steroids. So this is like a flip thing. Again, I found this on YouTube and I thought it would be really cool to add this in. So got my Polaroid photos of just random vehicles. This is a bike rickshaw that I painted and then sketched on top of. This is a close-up of a tuk-tuk. This is an actual tuk-tuk, and then there's a lot of motorbikes out there in India, and a lot of families just on one motorbike. They just don't care. They just really don't care. One thing about this book is that it just jumps from one thing to another. I kind of like that, as I didn't want to set myself 2 pages for the first day and then realise that I needed 4. So it's just a bit mishmash, which is kind of nice. This is from the flight out there. Managed to get myself an air sickness bag, and because it was, I think, an 8-hour flight, I sketched out what the flight looked like, and we had little TVs and everything, so that was nice. And then saved the tickets. I've also stitched onto 2 of the tickets, just the flight, just the aeroplane. I've also stitched onto that one. It's another aeroplane, but you can't really see because of the stamps unless you're up close. Because I've got 4 tickets, because we travel from London Heathrow to Delhi and then Delhi to Jaipur on the first stretch, and that was a nightmare. I've never travelled so much in my life. This is a little aeroplane stirrer. We had meals on the flight and drinks, so I managed to get that as well. Just add something. This is a tag that we had to put on our luggage. There's a nice little stamp on there, so thought I'd use it. Why not? It's a 10 rupee note from India, and also my visa photo, which we're not going to spend much time on. This, I don't know why they didn't take it. They usually take the ends of the tickets, but they didn't take this one. This was Delhi to Jaipur, so I kept it and it's in the pocket. This was on my suitcase, just adds a nice touch to the pocket. This is an immigration fill out form. Obviously they took my fill out form, but I just took another one just to add to my book. Just adds something else, doesn't it? And then these pages are from, I think, kind of like a hymn book for Hindus, which I found before I went out there, so I added that. But pages are so thin, they keep on breaking, so I've had to add this security bind, if you like, which I don't really mind. This is from my passport. Nice stamps. Usually, because I'm from the UK, you don't really get stamps, because when you go to Europe it's part of it. So I was quite excited to get some stamps in my passport, and I thought I'd add it. which is a nice touch. This is the flight home. We went from Udaipur to Mumbai, which was 2 hours, and then the big one, Mumbai to London Heathrow, was 10 hours. I am still jet lagged from that. It was a long journey home, but it had to be done. Moving on, in Jaipur we went to the Enoki Museum. This is where we wooden block printed some fabric, which was really nice. Add something nice to my book. I also got some images of this man making the wooden blocks. There he's chiselling the final one. Ooh. He's showing us the wooden block, and then that's the finished wooden block that he showed us that he completed there and then. I've also got a video of that, which was quite cool to see. He told us that the way that he does it has been passed down through generations of his family, which was interesting. You find that a lot in India, that families work through what they have, they don't go off into other jobs. This is also a business card of the Enoki Museum. I've got a few more pages further on about that. This is a water temple that we saw in Jaipur. I just really like the setting, I like how I've captured it, so I thought I'd add a page about it. Don't really know much information about this, but it just looks nice. In Udaipur we went to a sunset cruise, so I thought I'd do this watercolour painting, and then on top you can see the boats, and I've just outlined, and then some birds as well, which gives it a nice interactive feel, I think. And then these are some images of the sunset that we managed to capture on the island, which was really pretty. Another fabric tab of a sari. Further on we went to a jewellery making workshop in Udaipur again. It was quite expensive, the actual jewellery that they had, but it was nice to see the process of how they do it. I make jewellery myself, I don't do the gemstones, although I have been looking into it. But it was just nice to see how they melt the gold and then they cast their gems and stuff like that, so that was a nice insight. Going back to Jaipur, we had an elephant poo paper making workshop, and when we had lunch with them afterwards, the neighbours were crowding over their buildings to see what was happening and stuff like that, and it was quite nice to draw. I can't put images of people's faces in this book because it's for my university degree, so it was nice to draw this as I can't capture it in an image. So that's watercolour and fine liner again. All of my drawings are watercolour and fine liner through this book. This is back to the Enoki Museum. This is a fold-out map. Of the traditional painting town that I managed to pick up there. This is a wooden block that I got from the museum. Move this over a bit. And then I've got another fabric sample that I did there of an elephant because that's my favourite animal. This is a page that I sourced beforehand of that hymn book in Hindu, as I was saying. Just adds a nice touch. This pocket I sourced beforehand as well. I knew that Rajasthan had mirrors in most of their fabrics and tapestries, and that's kind of their symbol really. So I wanted to include that as some inside knowledge as to what their fabric is like. Here's another tab. Moving on to the monkey temple, we went to this in Jaipur. Really surreal. The monkeys were climbing all over us just to get some nuts, and they really like chewy sweets for some reason. So inside I've added photos of myself with the monkey, just some more monkey photos, and then I've watercoloured and fine lined just some monkeys that I found quite cute and posed differently, because I wanted to get the different aspects of the monkey. Back to Amber Fort, the first day in Jaipur. This was the first time that I saw an elephant. Really just amazing. This is watercolour and fine liner that I did there, and then these are also some images of the elephants, and then just some more images of Amber Fort in general. And this is another wooden stamp block that I picked up in India, and then these are just stamps from home of like mini mandalas that I thought would fit in nice. This is another fabric tab of the sari. This is a ceramic workshop that we did. This comes into the beads that I've got on the side. And then inside these flowers that I've made are small tiles that I picked up from this workshop. It was actually really cool to see people were doing this turntable, but it wasn't electric. There's like a wooden pole in the background where he'd stir the plate and then he'd build the ceramics, which was quite cool to see how they just make things happen. And this is a business card that I got from there. And this is the guy painting by hand all of the tiles and the pots, and yeah. This is a small book, if it'll come out, just things that I found on the streets. This is a pamphlet stitched book. These are some flowers. We were greeted with flower garlands, as I like to call them, everywhere that we went. And then moving on, got the hymn sheet again, another 10 rupees which I've stitched in the middle, and then this is the cover of the prayer book. This is a fabric sample that I found out there that I stitched into it, and this is one of the wooden blocks that I got them to stamp in. So that's that little book. I'll put that over there. Moving on, this is some fabric. There was so much fabric out there, so this is some of the fabric that I managed to photograph, and then we also dressed up in saris, so that was a nice touch to the holiday. This is another tab. Back to the Enoki Museum, I also got the guys to stamp the wooden blocks into my book, as it just adds a nice touch. These are some of the images. This is the fabrics that they've done in the museum. This is the man doing the wooden blocks on the fabric. This folds out, and this is another pattern that they do. And then this is sorry, this is another wooden block, because this one failed because my book was so just full of bits. It didn't really pick up on it very well, so this is a better version. And then I've also got just a little pamphlet on just the museum really, and general information, which I picked up there and thought it would be nice to add in my book. This is the bookmark that I was on about earlier, just a better close-up of it. This is more fabric. This is in Jaipur. We went to a restaurant with Rajasthani dancing, very brightly coloured. This is a drawing that I did, and then I managed to get some images of them moving around. There was 2 dancers in total, and we each got up and danced with them as well, which was nice to do whilst we had food. This is an art gallery which my tutor will be hosting her ceramics in summer, I think. And then in here I've got a map of the art museum as well. Just to we only spent a short, I think, probably about 2 hours here, and this wall really just stood out to me, so I painted it in my book. This is a little pocket that I made to hold that map as well. This is an envelope that I made beforehand. This is the first hotel that I stayed in. Really good hotel. I would recommend that if you're going to Jaipur. And then whilst in Jaipur I got postcards of the places that we went to. So we went to the City Palace, we went to Jantar Mantar, which is a sundial museum. Obviously went to Amber Fort. The Jal Mahal is that water palace that I photographed earlier on, and then the Wind Palace. All of these are shown in my book, and that's just a nice touch. I've also got another envelope further on down for the second hotel that we stayed in. This is a safari package, because I've got quite a few pages on it, that we did in Jaipur. These are blue bulls. These are the female, and that's the male. They got up quite close, so I managed to get quite good images. We actually saw 2 leopards in total, one group saw 3. I got some really good images of the leopards, and then decided to do this whole spread of leopards. Don't know whether you can see all of it. And then added a yellow tag because I thought it was fitting to it. I've also got a business card of the World of Wilders of the safari park, so that is also a nice touch, and the paper just fits in with the colours. And then further on we saw some peacock. We saw a lot of peacocks actually, a lot of monkeys. This was a rare bird that we saw, can't remember the name of it though, and this is a deer's remains from the leopards. So I added those images in too. In Udaipur we went to a tie-dye workshop where these women used thread to wrap around the fabric, and then it acts as a resist to the dye. So we managed to do that, and this is one of my outcomes. This is where I folded or rolled it up and then wrapped thread around it and dyed it twice, blue and pink. This is some more images. You can see in more detail the women wrapping the thread around. This was the water outside. For my dissertation I am looking to do about the dyeing industry in textiles, so this was quite relevant to me. And this is the process that they used. It was just a little oven stove, and then they added the dye pigment, which was natural, and just stirred the fabric around. This is another sample that I did out there. Another fabric tab with a little bell on it. India was very loud, so I wanted to include some sound in it, just to resemble that. This was the Jantar Mantar in Jaipur. This is a sundial museum. There was a lot of architecture that would tell the time, and there were star sign buildings. This is mine. This is Libra, as I was born in October. It was just a lot of sweeping buildings and just really good for photography, so I managed to capture some nice images there. And then I also did this whilst I was there, and I've got a video which I'll be augmented onto this of the guy telling me my characteristics from my date of birth and the time, which is quite cool. He was quite on point with what he said. In Jaipur City Palace, there are amazing doors. We already found this on Pinterest and Instagram, so I was really excited to go here just for the photo opportunities and the drawing opportunities. This is a case study that I did there, just roughly drawn with watercolour and fine liner, like the rest of my book. And then these are some of the images, this way, of the doors. This is me and my friend. And just really pretty, just amazing detail in them. Another fabric tab. This is the elephant poo paper making workshop that we did. This is the paper behind it. They also added a little letter in, which is really cute. Afterwards we had lunch with the elephant poo paper making people, and Mama cooked chapatis in front of us. This was the food. It was absolutely amazing. Probably the best meal that I've had out there, because it was all fresh. We all saw it being made. We were kind of part of it, which I think makes it more tasteful and enjoyable. And we all sat together, and the guy told us how the business started, and it was just really, it was a nice day. All of them were nice days, but this is her firing up the clay fire pit that they had, and then chucking on the chapatis. And then in here is a really nice image. I printed it on the elephant paper again, of the woman rolling up her sleeves ready to make the paper, which is nice because you don't really see many women do the same jobs as the men, so it was nice to capture that image. In Udaipur we did the sunset cruise, which you saw earlier. This is the photos that I took on the way to the island to watch the sunset. There's a little man bathing himself in the lake. You saw quite a lot of that actually. Really nice ships. This is a little water temple again. This is the city palace in Udaipur, which is amazing. I've got photos of that to come. And then this was the start of the little island that we went to go see the sunset on. So I managed to capture some good images on that boat. It's another fabric tab. This is the wedding page. There were so many weddings out there. Kept me up till 2:30 in the morning with their music. It was just so vibrant with the colours. The guy on a big white horse, big bands. This is a little shaker that I made. I YouTubed that, and then these are some pressed flowers that I did out there that I've stuck in. And yeah, we danced with quite a few of the crowds of the wedding parties, which was really good fun. You just join in just in the middle of the road really, and then they just don't care, they just want everyone to join in. So it was a really nice experience. This is my woman page. There's so many colours that they had out there in their saris. So I appliqued these two women. This is the first one with some saris that I cut up, and this is the second one. Really enjoyed this. I love applique anyway, and I just managed to capture quite a few. They're just so vibrant in the colours that they wear, and it's just crazy. And then this is just a quick, just random pieces of fabric that I managed to source out there. This is, so in Udaipur we got the chance to paint on the side of a cafe Grasswood. This is the owner. Me and 3 others painted this bird on the side of his cafe. It's right next to the lake, so we wanted lakeside lounge on it. And then in this concertina you can see the process of how we did it. We got a lot of people stopping and taking photos, and it was really nice just to have our work, just have our stamp in India really, just yeah. This is the city palace in Udaipur that I was on about on the sunset cruise. A lot of stained glass windows, a lot of ceramic tiled archways, and just a lot to see. There was horses and stables, and then views for days. And it's so colourful but so run down at the same time. It was fascinating to see and to photograph. This was a ceramic courtyard just full of tiles and mirrors, lots of stained glass. Like I said, this is me peering out of a stained glass window to see this view. This is the outside, just more stained glass. Just everywhere you looked was a photo opportunity in the city palace. But back to Jaipur, in the Amber Fort there was a lot of women cleaners. I managed to photograph this woman with the face on it, so I had to paint it in, which I don't mind. It still looks nice, and it's a nice fold out. And then this is, I don't know how I managed to capture it because it looks like a little model shot, but this is another woman cleaner. They use these straw things just to beat the dust away so that the palace is looking pristine. Another fabric tab. On the way from Jaipur to Udaipur we stopped at this railway station. We met a few women and their children, because apparently there's only one train comes through here a day. So they were all waiting for this one train to come. This was a rundown train, and inside there's 2, probably can't see it in this photo, but there's 2 levels where I think people sit up here and then people sit down here, and that's quite commonly known in India that the trains are rammed whenever they come through the stations. You just can't get on them unless you're Indian, because you know how many people can fit on there, whereas British people will probably just look at that and go, oh, I can't get on there. And then just more colourful saris that I wanted to capture. Luckily I managed to capture them sideways, so you can't identify them, but you can still appreciate the colours of the saris and just their beauty really. This is the city palace in Jaipur. lots of pinks. Jaipur is a pink city, that is what it's known for. Lots of archways, just really good architecture as well. Really fascinating. There are lots of cows. In India, the cow is known as the holy animal. They don't do anything to their cows, but there's a lot of them on the streets, so I don't really understand it. They're used for milk, and they're just a source of getting things done in a good way. Like in this image, this cow is going around a little bowl as such, which is making oil. These cows I found on the streets. This cow is in the market, and no one runs over them. They go and pat them, and they just love their cows. The elephants. The elephants was the best part for me. This is mainly why I went to India in the first place, to go see the elephants. Had a whale of a time. This is me with my elephant friend. I've called him Fred. Probably not his real name though. This is me and my friend riding the elephant. This is another drawing that I did there. This is me feeding the elephant. Just some more images of the elephants as well. And then we also painted them and washed them, but I didn't manage to get a photo of me washing it. I painted TSS, which is a charity close to my heart. This is a little business card as such about the symptoms. My best friend passed away from this, so I thought it'd be